Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome to another Games Cast. This time I'm going to go over the last of the E3 content I'm going to do for this week. This is the top 5 games I seen at E3. For myself, I'm going to buy, or would attempt me to buy a different console to get them. But we're going to have 3 of them that are like a special mentions in this top 5 type thing. The first one is going to be Dead Rising 4. I know that, yes, you're probably thinking that, oh my god, you haven't put Dead Rising 4 on there. I know, yes, it still looks insanely good, and yes, I'm going to buy it. But for me, it just seems like a DLC type of game, pretty much. I'm still going to buy it, because I love the Dead Rising games, and I've just always been good at playing them, really, kind of. I'm not being, like, kind of egotistic about it, but it's something that's, like, really good in that way, and it's a little bit different towards any other survival things, because it kind of brings on the comedy type thing, like the humor type survival side of it. It still is right now more of a survival type game, instead of the Dead Rising 1 and 2 where it was just comical. But this one, it seems a little bit different in that way. But I would rather have had like a Dead Rising 1 and 2 remake for the next gen systems. Would have been a little bit better, as well as Dead Rising 4 on this one. But never mind about that. Second game is State of Decay 2. I know that this one is just like a little trailer that they announced, and I know it's supposed to be coming out, I think, next year. Not this year, I think it's next year. I think there's a beta coming out this year. And the reason why I chose State of Decay 2 is just because it's one of these games that's like really fun to play. It's another zombie survival game, and you're probably thinking, oh no, not another one, but yeah, it's one of those games that's really good in that way, and I actually really enjoyed State of Decay 1. It was one of those like summer arcade games that came out on the Xbox first, and then came out on PC, and then the Xbox One brought out the Year 1 edition. I still haven't finished the Year 1 edition. I've gotten like a couple of missions through it, and then I played a different game. But with State of Decay 2, it's actually got a 4-player co-op in it, so that's going to be really fun to play. I'm not quite sure if it's got a cross-platform play, but they're talking about having a Steam release for it. I know that it's only coming out for Xbox One and Windows 10 when it launches, and then for Steam it's going to come out after then. But hopefully they still bring in a cross-platform play with Steam content as well as Xbox content, hopefully. And with State of Decay 2, I kind of want them to, well, they're going to expand the world itself, because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger type place where you busted through the wall and that was it, really. And it kind of waited for the DLC to come out, and it kind of looked a little bit different towards that, so hopefully they expand on something like that for the future of that game. Then the final and third one is Titanfall 2, and I know, yes, I know why am I putting this in the special mentions, only because I do enjoy Titanfall 2, but most of the games that I've picked are games that I am really looking forward to, and one of them is like an out-of-the-world type thing. It's a type of like an indie game type game that I've chosen in the top 5, but Titanfall 2 is one of these games that's just like, it's really fun, and yes, they've adapted a lot of stuff, and yes, they've said that it's not going to have the simple like Strider, Ogre, and whatever the hell the other one was in Titanfall 1. It's not going to have those, because those were too simple designs, and these next Titans have all got like different abilities. They all look completely different towards each other, so that means you don't actually, it doesn't really matter which Titan you picked in number 1, you could still work it well. But in number 2, you're picking the Titan for its abilities instead of its strengths and instead of its speed and stuff like that. But you know, it's something a little bit different, and the addition of the grappling hook is a little bit better for the parkour reasons, because it's not like an instant you go over to that placement. It's more of it carries your momentum with the grappling hook, and you can hook in enemies, you can hook over Titans as well, you can hook towards your Titan, or you can hook on top of other Titans, which they've changed up the stand on top of a Titan type thing now as well, where you just go on top of it and it's just there, and instead of smashing a button, you have to take out a piece of its core, which takes off some of its health instead. But I don't really like that type of thing. I'm not quite sure though. But enough of that. This question for this week is probably put at the start of it, but what is your favourite game from this E3 in general? Just, I know that most people, maybe, I know one person's is Zelda, some people's Battlefield 1 and stuff like that, so remember to comment that down below, and let's get straight into this. So my number 1 placement is Wildlands. Oh, well, not really number 1 placement. My first one. Let's not really go. It's like a 5 games that I'm most anticipated for. Not a top one, but the 5 games I'm most anticipated for. But the first one is Wildlands, the Ghost Recon game. It looks insanely good. Like compared to last year, yes, it was a little bit out there in the way that they did the trailer. Yes, it did look good. They had the inclusion of like stealth parts and then other parts, and then different parts that you could do and stuff like that. But with this game, it seems a little bit more heisty. Like they had made it a little bit more friendly towards single player people as well, just in case you want to play it single player. I will play it single player and with mates, because some of my mates are going to uni, and then when they come back, we're probably going to play that with all the DLC and everything. And this is one of these games that's going to be so much fun to play, because it kind of brings out like a heisty type theme from GTA, but it kind of brings it into an open world scenario where you can literally go anywhere. It's not like a linear path, you just go to this place, you go do that. There's multiple things that you can do to get this info, and then instead of doing that, you could do like the easiest ones, or you could do multiple things to try and get different parts of info. So that means you know what the actual boundaries are all about, where the location is, what your location's target is, like weaknesses and stuff like that. It kind of makes you do a little bit more towards the game, and I like that type of stuff. But it's a different setting as well. Like Bolivia, it's a completely different setting towards any other game, really. I've never really seen a game that's been put in like South America type placements. It's a weird setting for a game, but it works. It looks like it works. So hopefully it's really good. It comes out March. I think it's like March 11th, March something. But it comes out then. It's like a one game that comes out in March, so hopefully it's good, because I'll be playing probably the next game until then, and then other games until then as well. But then the second game is Battlefield 1, and yes, this is one of these games that I'm just like, oh my god, the hype is real and it's amazing. But at the same time, like, if people haven't seen the multiplayer gameplays and stuff like that, search for them, and it looks still amazing. Even from like the trailers, I know that EA kind of screwed it up a little bit, and they decided to put out trailers for the campaign, like a cinematic trailer. It doesn't actually show off gameplay or anything like that. The later bits actually shows off gameplay, and it still looked really good. The destruction's really good in the single player, and I know that the single player destruction goes towards the multiplayer destruction, which is really good in that way. And to make it a World War I setting, no other games have really got a World War I setting in their games now. So to make it that makes it a little bit different, and it kind of makes it a little bit more enjoyable. And well, it's Battlefield. I love Battlefield games. Well, I first started playing Battlefield games when it was Battlefield 3. My mates decided to force me into buying Battlefield 3. So I got that, and I played it for I don't know how many hundreds of hours. And I'm only like Colonel 20-something or something like that. And I played like 200, maybe 300 hours into Battlefield 3. So that's insane. I've been getting back into Battlefield 4 now. And on the Xbox market right now, Battlefield 4 is under £4 if you want to go get it. So that's near like $5. If you want to go buy it, I would. It's so much fun to play that you don't even need the DLC maps. You can still play it, and it's still really fun to play, especially on Xbox One. So much better. But then, third game is Halo Wars 2, and you're probably thinking that, I know, yes, it's an RTS type game, and it's one of these games that's a little bit different, but I kind of wanted a Xbox only game in there, so I've kind of included a PlayStation game in there as well afterwards. But Halo Wars 2, since I played the beta, it seems really familiar towards Halo Wars 1, so that's kind of why I like it. Like, the controls, yes, I know in the beta the frame rate's a little bit slower, but when I've seen gameplay of other things, of the Strongholds game type, where you just have to keep on taking out enemies, the one that's got the most bases wins, where it's got a 3v3, in the beta it's only 2v2 game types, but it seems really simple and just really easy to understand if you know the RTS strategies towards Halo Wars. If you played Halo Wars 1, then you kind of know what you're doing about it. Like I do straight away. I knew what things to know about, and people don't really get that you can click in with a stick to alert people about stuff, and they don't pay any attention to it, and it's really annoying in that way. But to play this game as the beta itself, I know the frame rate in the beta is it's not really the best. It still gets the 30 frames per second, but it kind of struggles in some places. But it's still so much fun to play. Like, I know there's only 2 characters in there, but there's 6 characters. You can play as the new tribe of like elites and thingies as well, elites and brutes. And you have Captain Cutter, which is going to have Anders, I'm going to guess. So that's going to be really fun to play as Anders, you know. Everybody knows it's going to be fun to play as Anders. But yeah, that's Halo Wars 2. It's going to be so much fun. It comes out February. And it's a weird release date for a Halo game, but I'm fine with it. It's away from any other game, so that means it allows me to play Battlefield 1 until Halo Wars 2, and Halo Wars 2 until Wildlands, and then everything together just to play them all. And then the 4th game is a PlayStation game. This game is Days Gone, which is a survival game. And you're probably thinking, why have I included this one instead of Dead Rising 4? I just kind of wanted a little bit more diversity to it. And this one, it looks like a single player, more detailed State of Decay type game instead. Where, well, the story about it is that you're a biker gang and you're trying to get through the apocalypse still as a crew. Trying to work together as a crew, but your crew's kind of revolting a little bit and they're going completely mental in some ways. So you're just trying to survive it. So it's one of those games that's another survival type game. I know I could have included like Horizon or something like that, but I kind of wanted a zombie game in there just to have it because it's a little bit more survival-ish than an open world fantasy type game where there's robots and stuff like that. I wouldn't have that one, but Days Gone looks really good for a PlayStation. I would get a PlayStation in that way, but you know, I probably won't just yet. I'm gonna wait until like a year, maybe 2, just to get one. I'll get a new TV first, then I'll get the PlayStation. But next game and last game is the indie game, which it looks completely crazy, and people have probably seen it on Steam already, which is called We Happy Few. This one kind of, it caught my eye so much, and I know that it could have included like Sea of Thieves. I'm still going to buy Sea of Thieves, but the way that they presented it wasn't the best, so I kind of didn't want to include it into it. But from how they kind of did everything else about We Happy Few, it was just a demo towards it, and it was just like a little trailer demo, which was really fun to watch, is the thing. It was a weird trailer in that way, where you were taking joy pills to try and stop you from thinking downing thoughts towards that. But you kind of reflected on the past, like it looked like the children in there died because of you, or something like that from the paper. I'm not quite sure, but it's kind of intrigued me to play it more and to actually buy the beta when it comes, the game preview when it comes out, to play that and see how it is. But it looks really good in that way, and to go through it, and it's going to have little twists and kind of weird stuff about it, so I want to see how that one goes. So yeah, those were my top 5 games, or my 5 games from E3 that I'm most looking forward to. There you go. Most anticipated games of E3. There you go. That's a little bit more of a better title. But remember to comment down below your most anticipated games from this E3 that was being shown, and I will go check them out. And hopefully you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. So, peace out.